Yes, people, welcome back to the GraphKings podcast, our very first podcast internationally. We're in Ibiza with a very special guest of ours, Mr. Dean Gaffney.
Do you know what, boys? We can't go any further because we got Joseph from X on the Beach. Don't worry about me. Cool. We got him here.
I haven't heard that in a few years.
It's a good episode. Don't worry about that.
It's a pleasure to have you on, man. And it's like, as our first guest internationally, we're in Ibiza. It's a big deal for us. We've only been going, what, 4 or 5 months now, boys.
Yeah,
and to have you on the pod in Ibiza is a bit surreal for us. So I really do appreciate you.
No, thank you, boys. And listen, Ibiza is one of the most amazing islands in the world. Do you know what I mean? You come here and there's 2 parts of Ibiza. In fact, it's probably 10 parts of Ibiza. But there's the part that obviously the Brits abroad, people obviously do probably partake in bad things. But then there's also a beautiful side of Ibiza, which is where we are now, Esvedja and you know, the north of the island. People talk about, oh, when you come to Ibiza, you've got to go to the north, you've got to go to the north and find yourself and be hippified and take ayahuasca or whatever. But there are beautiful parts of Ibiza and some of the best restaurants probably in Europe out here as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
There's definitely 2 sides of it. Unfortunately, we've never been in the fit state, us boys, to see. We have seen really nice parts, 1 or 2 nice places, but we've never probably experienced the luxury side of it too much.
No.
I mean, there you go. Look, we've got a float in the pool, mate. It's going over the infinity.
Well, to be fair, I'm surprised you ain't got nosebleeds leaving. Next all I ever see is your Maidstone.
We've actually been up since 3 a.m. We've literally free up here. What time is it now? It's coming up to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We've been up since 3 a.m.
We have, yeah.
And we've just set up the pod, seen this mad view, and was like, this is crazy, man. We can't believe we're here.
That's what you hear in Ibiza is people saying I've been up since 3 days. 3 days. They say.
When you're only here for a limited time as well, though, you know you're just going to go hard. If you're here for a longer period of time, you can do all of the nice things.
But this is the thing. There's so many every day and every night. There's something.
Yeah.
So, you know, you've got history today on a Tuesday, you've got, you know, Jamie Jones here, you've got this person there. There's so many different things. For me, I think the main ones, I love Glitterbox. That's brilliant. Yeah. I love Defected because it's San Antonio based. Obviously, I love Ocean Beach. I spent half my life in Ocean Beach. Sorry, O Beach as it's now called. But there's so many things for everyone to do.
Yeah, of course,
island,
very true. Do you reckon we'll get a party after this?
I think, listen,
we know where we're going.
This should hurry up. We're wasting valuable time.
The car here,
I'll tell you what. We've got a little gift. We don't know if you're into this, but we thought, you know what? Got a nice little Winston Churchill cigar.
Love that. I mean, I don't smoke at all.
You don't smoke at all?
I will lord it today.
Yeah,
thank you.
If we go out today, we want to see you puffing on that, and that's our little gift to you.
Love that. Thank you, boys.
No worries.
Very welcome, mate. Very welcome.
So we want to get into a bit about you, really. So obviously, you're known as, well, I've heard you're basically British TV royalty. That's the name you've been blessed with. Is that correct? You heard that before?
Do you know what it is? I mean, it's you know, thanks for saying that. It's a great testament because obviously joined EastEnders 30 years ago now.
Wow.
30 years this year.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm sure there's many people that have come and go throughout the show that, you know, are not necessarily in their chosen profession now. You know, and I'm still kind of earning a wage from it. I mean, the problem about being an actor is you have to move with the times.
Yeah, of course.
And you know, not sadly, but obviously I started as an actor and reality then kicks in. You know, we live in a world where everything's reality TV.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to adapt to that. I mean, obviously I'd love to be, you know, acting and you know, in a movie with Tom Cruise, of course I would, but I still have to pay my bills, you know.
Yeah,
so if I'm a Celebrity comes knocking or a Strictly comes knocking, then you have a listen. I mean, I don't think you'll ever see me on something like Celebrity Coach Trip, and that's no disrespect to that show because I love it as a viewer, but there are certain things that I just wouldn't do. Not saying it's beneath me, it's just, you know, I came into this career as wanting to be an actor, and you know, if an Ant and Dec 11 million viewers come knocking, then you got to listen to it, or Strictly. But stuff. I mean, they offered me SAS recently, and boys, listen, I've made you all keep your tops on for obvious reasons, but I couldn't do that show if you paid me £1 million.
Would you not be willing just to go and give it a go? See what happens?
I'd be dead. Someone was shouting in my face. I'd be like, who the hell do you think you're talking to? I'd be kicked out.
Sounds like you, Mason.
I mean,
no, that's fair enough, man. And like, obviously, you've been on what I call the circuit for years, and you're a household name in the UK. Like, everyone knows your name. When you do a show for such a long period of time, how long was you on it actually?
So I was on it first time around 10 years. Then I had about 5 years off, and I've been kind of back and forward like a yo-yo actually, which has been nice because again, EastEnders is a show that when you leave And if you're not necessarily busy, you're dying for that phone to ring again. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So the fact that they've rang a few times and said, look, we'd love Robbie to come back, which is, you know, an amazing thing because
Must feel good. You wanted, isn't it?
Because exactly that. There's a lot of people that they haven't asked back for whatever reason. And you've got to remember the show evolves. You know, it's all about families, that show. And as long as, you know, Natalie plays my sister Sonia, as long as she's there, then there's always, you know, who knows if there's a future for Robbie to come back, because as long as you've got a family member there, you very rarely survive in EastEnders without family, because you just become a miscellaneous character. Like, it does work sometimes. You'll have like a character like Minty or something like that, but every you need a family base on that show to survive.
Oh, mad,
Makes
man.
sense.
And do you feel like you get there's a word for it when you're a character for so long, it's hard to come out of that character.
Yeah, you get typecast.
That's it, typecasting.
But you do and you don't. You know, with the invention of Sky TV and cable and whatnot now, there's so many channels that it's relatively easy. Not easy, but it's easier to
diversify.
There's so many channels. But, you know, you also then are known for one thing. You know, I remember going up for a job or wanting to get a job, and the cast director said to me, "Oh yeah, you know, we know what Dean's about. You know, we know that he can walk a dog around the square." And I think that's what people think I can only do. But actually, there's many things we can do. You know, and acting is you know, that's what I'd love. My next role, I'd love to shave my head and play a crack addict.
Something
really
like that.
Something where people go over the next day, "Oh my God, did you see Dean Gaffney on television?"
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's what we all aspire to be. You know, I mean, there's Bonded by Blood 67 at the moment, isn't there? And Rise of the Foot Soldiers 642. But you know, there's many things being made, but it's about getting the right thing at the right time, I suppose.
What's it like when you're? Sorry, I was just going to say, what's it like when you're bumping into people? Because, as in like fans, because again, people see you in a certain light on TV. Do they expect you to be a certain way and be pleasantly surprised?
It's a mad concept being recognised. It's something that is. I don't notice any different. Like if people always go to me, "Oh, you know, oh wow, do you get recognised in Sainsbury's?" Like, you get recognised everywhere, like Sainsbury's, wherever the hell you are. Like, and even when you've got blacked out windows in your car, you get recognised. It's a mad thing, fame. Because I think it was someone like some massive movie star said that as much as I do movies, I'm in people's cinemas once a year. Yeah. If you're on a soap opera, you're in people's
every week.
52 weeks a year.
That's what I was going to
So they literally feel like
they know
you're part of your family. And I always say that if you're out and you know, let's say we're in Moo-Moo's.
Yeah.
Kent's
and you're out and it gets to about midnight. There's a few, you know, groups of boys all pissed up. That's when you go, "Oh God, I wish I wasn't doing this for a living," because that's when it starts getting not abusive. But you know what people are like on alcohol. It just gets a bit, it gets a bit like, "Oh, you're that prick from," as opposed to,
There's always
you're that guy
people.
from. There's always a
dig.
Yeah, there's always a dig when alcohol's involved.
True.
I always say alcohol's got a lot to answer for, really, but. On the whole, especially with The Jungle just being out recently, it's been lovely. It's been, you know, great, good
reception,
nice people. You know, sometimes you'll get people go, like, I always get people going, "Oh, you chatting, you know, my friend up, or you did this." But the thing is, and it's the same with people saying about me doing drugs. People go, "Oh yeah, my mate did drugs with you." Guys, I've never done a drug in my life. And if a paper ever did a story of me doing drugs, I'd be living in Bel Air as a billionaire now, because I would sue. But people still think you do things even when you don't.
Yeah,
people will come up to me and go, "Oh yeah, you went to the carnival with my friend." I ain't been to the carnival about 10 years, but people say, "I was in the carnival last month or last year," and it's like
weird.
It's weird. People think they know you and they're seeing you out, but they haven't.
They'll just jump on a bandwagon, or they'll just make up any lie just to become relevant or what it is. So
in terms of like what you're doing now, then, like you said that you sort of, there's certain shows you wouldn't do. What are your parameters in terms of like from the career that you've done so far? That you're like, "No, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't do that." Or yes, I would. Like, obviously, you said you wouldn't do SAS because it's hard.
It's a good question. I think. Listen, I'm not one to say I'm some big-headed. You know, I'm not George Clooney. I'm not Brad Pitt. I'm not sitting there going, "I can pick and choose." But there are certain things that that's fine for that. You know, when you've been on a show like EastEnders, it was, you know, when I was first in, it was 25 million people watching the episode. Wow. There's certain things, because I think cast directors will go, "Oh, he's taking everything." So you lose your
credibility.
Exactly. You lose that kind of, "Oh, we can't get to him," that exclusiveness. Do you know what I mean? So there's been stuff like, I think we were off at the farm once, and I remember saying, you know, "I don't want to masturbate a pig on TV." Do you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things I do and certain things I won't do. So, but in regards to that question, I think, you know, we always say if you're gonna do a show, you want to do a household name show.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, SAS is a good show.
Yeah, it is,
I mean,
yeah.
I love it. I think it's a brilliant show. But I know I couldn't do it because I'd have to train for 3 years for that.
Yeah, for you.
And I just love partying in Ibiza too.
Fair enough.
Ain't gonna happen.
And go on.
No, I mean, I was just going to say, going off the back of like shows, how was pretty much your experience on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of It? Because I know that was, you had some like issues on there when you was going through the medical, which obviously caused which raised some concerns.
So basically what happens is so I did the original show back in 2006. And that's obviously massive. Go to Australia, it's unbelievable. Fly your family out first class.
This is
great.
before social media, so that was like
Social media,
everyone's
exactly.
eyes were on
And the
this.
maddest thing you say that. So I'd done my live trial, and obviously because it was live and the show's live, you're unaware what's going on because you're in camp. So obviously back home, the whole country, the whole nation is talking about my live trial. Chris Moores was talking about on his radio show. It went viral, and it was just when YouTube just kicked in. So I remember coming out. When I came out and I see Ant and Dec, because they kind of had their breakfast after, you know, you film the show, they have their breakfast. Obviously, everything's the other side of the world. So
of course.
where you're going to bed, we're
They're
waking
ahead,
up. So Ant and Dec going, Dean, our phone has blown up. Like, you don't understand. We've had Robbie Williams texting us.
Oh, wow.
We've had, he said we've had some mad people texting us going, was Dean Gaffney acting or was he seriously scared? And then I was like, no, you ain't seen me act, boys. I'm definitely not that good. But that went viral, and that's the only reason I think I was asked back, because people still remember 15, 16 years on that live trial. So then obviously the I'm a Celebrity Best of the Best came around, and that came out of lockdown basically. It was when they went to Wales, obviously look, COVID was a new thing. No one knew what was going on. So obviously ITV was scared that, you know, if one person gets COVID, we're going to have to whip them all out.
Yeah.
So there'd be no show. So they had a contingency plan. They thought, you know what, we'll bring up to Wales 10 of the best. And obviously we never got used because no one got COVID. But they obviously had that idea in the back of their head. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Let's do a Legends or a Best of the Best. And, you know, it took 3 years in the making, and then we did it. We filmed it in September. It's the only I'm a Celeb that's not live. And they said that because they wanted a different spin on it, they wanted to kind of play homage to the original, but also go, well, you're the best of the best. It's going to be bigger, badder, better. And we're doing South Africa because you've all done it in Australia. So none of you all know what it's about. And yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Wasn't you doing like an eating trial? I think I've seen
Yeah,
something
I
like
came
that.
in-
You turned around and you was like, nearly
Yeah,
falling
mate.
out.
But the funny
I
thing
see
is,
that.
Is it as bad as it looked? Is it like,
worse.
oh,
But the
mate.
thing is, I mean, it's something like 1,000 staff on that show. It's a big show.
That's a lot.
It's all the same producers as Love Island. Like, it's a big vehicle. And me and Joe obviously turned up. They were so secretive. They search you everywhere for
Really?
contraband. You can't bring in nothing. I don't know how anyone brings anyone in. I mean, they gave me about 4 searches, like I was at the airport. And then me and Joe go in and we do this live trial, but a normal trial takes about 40 minutes.
Right, okay.
This took 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
Because me and
Jesus.
Joe were throwing up,
The easy one, yeah.
gagging,
It was-
just,
mate, it's
and then it got
hilarious.
to the point where even Ant and Dec were going, guys, we're losing the light here. It's a bit like this. Imagine if you're losing the light, you can't film. So they were kind of getting a bit stressed of us, like, guys, I know this is great TV, but for Christ's sake, get a move on. Do it quicker. But that was an amazing experience because it was boiling hot, and they're so secretive there, but they made out, they make out that they want everyone not to know who's out there. But Joe had obviously, me and Joe got to the airport at the same time. We went different terminals. So he's flown out from Terminal 1, I've flown out from Terminal 3. So on different flights, completely don't know he's there. And then someone must have said, oh, seen Dean Gaffney or Joe Swash in the airport. And he texted me when I got to South Africa. And you're not allowed to say anything because they're so hot on, you know, confidentiality. So Joe was like, Gaff, are you here in South Africa? And I went, yeah, don't say nothing. So we both knew each other were there, but we couldn't tell the producers that we knew that we were both there. So when we both turned up, the
Then your
conspiracy
accent kicks
theories.
in. Joe!
Yeah, exactly.
Delete the
But
WhatsApp
the conspiracy theories that day, because we were like, because we were the last 2 to go in. We went in as late arrivals, and we were worried about what they're going to do. Is 1 going to go in? Is 3 going to? It was just it plays with your mind there because they put you in lockdown for a week. Because obviously still strict about COVID, so we had to be in lockdown for a week, and then we go in, and that was an amazing experience, boys. Seriously.
Quite intense
I can imagine.
environment though as
Yeah.
well. I mean, it's 24-hour surveillance, and again, there's trials, etc. So
But like you said about the sorry, you did say about the medical. So
Yeah.
every reality show, as you know, will give you a medical just to see that you're fit and everything, whatever. And for their insurances. And something came back with the bloods, and they were like, oh, you know, you're losing blood. It's like you're anemic, but you're a male, and men don't really get anemia. So it's a bit weird. So they did further investigations, and they said that you're losing it from your back passage, and that's a bit worrying. So they put me under, and did all the tests, and there basically was some polyps that were like getting quite big, and they said that I'm not saying I had cancer, would have got cancer, who knows? But what they saying was the likelihood is that had they been left undetected, they would have grown and grown and grown, and cancer could have, should have, would have formed.
Wow.
So had it not been for that medical, because I don't go to a doctor, listen, probably 3 times a year.
Cool.
And that's it. I don't go. You get a cold, you get on with it. So I very rarely see a doctor, so I wouldn't have gone. So had I not had that medical, I wouldn't.
You'd never know.
I'd be sat here now, but could be having ticking time.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason, man.
Exactly.
That's mental.
That's a blessing in
Literally
disguise.
just a medical for a show, and then you found out, because it's true. When do you actually go to the doctors and say, let me just have a normal checkup, unless it's like a car, something pops up, then you go fix it.
Can't even get an appointment.
No, you can't.
It's like my mate Jamie Borthwick was out here recently. He was on EastEnders. He's on EastEnders, and we, obviously lads all together, lads. But actually, to talk about the fundamental things, I mean, at one point we got so close. I was like, mate, you might have to check if I've got any, because I felt something that wasn't right. It felt gritty, but then your own opinion, you don't know, because you're feeling it.
Or you
on
brush
yourself.
it off. You're like,
Brush it off.
no.
So at one point I thought, mate, I might get you drunk and touch up the corner. but it's one of them things that you don't know. You don't know what. There's this little
gristle, And you also think men are guilty of always thinking it's not going to happen to them.
Yeah.
When I feel like in this day and age, it's very important to get checked up, and us boys are quite always on.
I went and had my bloods done last week.
Yeah, we got
just
our bloods
to have
done.
a little health checkup. Rang the doctor. I was like, I just want to have my bloods done. I was like, yeah. I said,
where was that in the gum clinic?
That come back negative. No, but I feel like that's an important message to boys out there as well. Definitely go and get yourself checked, whether that's checking your balls for lumps or checking your bloods.
Well,
you're not a pussy for that. You're not a pussy.
No,
to
exactly.
check on your health.
And I think things like this set up, and I think like what loose women do with the loose men, all that, it all helps, because,
of course.
And especially the day and age we're living in with the mental health side now. I mean, I don't necessarily like when people throw around a lot of I'm depressed today.
Yeah,
it's like, if you genuinely are, then you genuinely are. But sometimes it's used as a.
Of course it is.
It's kind of used as just
It's
like brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
If you genuinely are, it's good to talk. Of course.
Yeah, of course.
100% amongst men. If you go back in history, the tribes would always stick together. The men would stay together, and a high testosterone environment, and they would discuss things. So
on that, Dean, like, obviously being in the public eye, you said that there's obviously stresses that we've got no idea about being in the public eye, and you've been in it for a long time now. So that when you have things like you say, when you get the drunk comments from people out in the nightclub and stuff like that, have you ever, where you've been in the game, got to a point where you think, I don't want to be in the public eye anymore?
The only time that you sometimes feel that is when you get that phone call from your agent on a Saturday, and this is a Sunday newspaper coming in. What they're doing, is it kiss and tell? Is it what? I'm a single guy, so if I want to go on a date, or if I want to take someone out, it's my God-given right. What's the problem? I'm not harming anyone.
Yeah.
But for some reason, and it's a backhanded compliment because the papers seem to love writing about me, but then what comes with that is, I've got daughters, so I'm trying to protect them. There was a story recently in one of the papers where some guy I'd never met in my life did a story, and I couldn't take him to the courts because, number one, I'm not Elton John. I don't have a bottomless pit of money. And two, they've always got that thing of, how can he be arguing about his reputation when he's been, a bit of a cad with women in the years gone by. So you're kind of stuck in that middle ground of, then they can write what they want. Do you know what I mean? I mean, within reason, don't get me wrong, there's never smoke without fire. I'm first to hold my hands up and say, I've been a bit of a naughty boy in my years, but some people do a lot worse. Do you know what I mean? Me going on a night out, meeting a woman, whatever happens, is
it's part of human nature.
Exactly.
Do you ever feel like penalised for it?
Do you ever feel like it's too intrusive? Do you feel like, I just wish I weren't in the public eye?
I feel now with the Leveson inquiry and the way that the papers, are under scrutiny with all phone hacking and whatever, I think it's got a little bit easier.
Okay.
They can't just write a story. There has to be some substance to it, some truth to it. They have to do their due diligence. They have to bring your agent. So there's a lot of stuff they have to do now. So they're governed by rules, which is good. But I mean, when you think about it, years ago, when like
free press, isn't it?
just free press. They can say what they want, do what they want, write what they want.
crazy,
I mean, you very rarely see a kiss and tell now, unless it's an England footballer who's playing away from home, whatever. You very rarely see a girl talk about her night with a said celeb.
Yeah,
It
sure.
just doesn't really happen, because also it's quite grubby.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a bit. You know, it's
And-
not nice to.
Probably social media. Sorry to cut you up. Social media's probably put an end to kind of that stuff because
Yeah.
before the paper can even write, it's live on someone's story.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, you can't, because people get injunctions out on papers, but you can't stop that side.
Yeah.
You know, with the whole stuff recently with Philip Schofield and whatever, like, you know, allegedly he was getting an injunction. A super injunction was costing hundreds of thousands every month or whatever it was. But what's the point? Because the whole nation knew something was tinkering.
Yeah.
People have rumours, people do this, people have, and it's all on social media. So once something goes on social media, it just
That's it. It's there forever.
It's
isn't it?
wildfire.
and it's why, because it does get that. I mean, a bit like, you know, with Ocean Beach recently, you know, sorry, O Beach, you know, categorically trouble don't happen in there. They're very good, the doors, but it gets a bit of momentum on Instagram,
Socials,
TikTok,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Facebook and stuff, yeah.
I mean, TikTok, I don't even know I don't even know how to turn the bloody thing on, to be fair, but everyone's TikTok sensations.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
There are
yeah.
people, like, you know, the other day I was sat near someone and some girl was hyperventilating and she was like, oh my God, it's the guy who does the pool. He's the pool guy from TikTok. I was like, what? And he does people's pools. I mean, lovely guy, get nothing twisted. And he's very talented at what he does, but he puts dye in people's swimming
I've seen
Wow.
it. Where did you see it? I thought he was
He
American.
did Wiki Woo. He did Wiki Woo. But,
Oh, wow.
But I love what he did.
Yeah.
But
No idea who he is though.
Yeah.
Hold a minute, you cleaned the pool. Yeah. what have we,
there's
where have
no
we got
disrespect
to?
to him. If he walked past me in the street, I wouldn't know who he
You
was.
wouldn't know
But
him,
he was lovely. I got introduced to him after that. Fine, now I know who he is. But this girl was hyperventilating.
Yeah.
And that's
Mad.
the thing, we live in a
Bit
very
much.
different
Yeah.
world now,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Whereas people like KSI and all these, I mean, did this whole thing about the prime drinks and whatever. That to me just goes over my head.
Yeah, same.
KSI, KTY, what?
It's a crazy world nowadays. Do you feel like, I know you said you have to move with the times. Did you struggle kind of adapting to the social media era when it come through? Because obviously, back in your day, when you was it, the only celebrities or anyone that was famous had to be on TV. If you went on TV or film,
you're
you
absolutely
weren't
right.
no one.
And again, listen, and this is not, you know, saying anything bad about anyone that's done this, but you know, now you can now buy a blue tick.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sure we all have our opinions on that. But, you know, if you're a 21-year-old lad and you want to impress a girl, then if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But that in itself is mad, because what you're doing is you're basically paying to have a status that's not really even there. And,
You haven't earned it.
But
Yeah.
also,
No value
but
in
also
it, yeah.
even what's the status for anyway?
Yeah, what you
If you if you work in a flower store, then be that. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
But if you work here, but what's the point of having a status on social media? For what reason? Unless it's earned, unless you have something to back it up.
Yeah, of course,
Unless you have a career, unless you know, if you are, like I said, a flower seller and you want your flower shop to have a blue tick, fine.
Yeah, sure.
That's
But as an
right, yeah.
individual, I don't really get it.
Yeah.
We had that conversation about the pod. Like individually, the boys have obviously been on reality TV, so they may earn that stripe. Do you know what I mean? But they wouldn't buy it off their own
No,
pattern,
exactly.
right? They'll let that fame, if you want to call it that, grow organically. But we said for the podcast, so that people know it's authentic, it's real, it's us.
But that's the reason it was obviously meant for. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
for sure.
But if you're Julie from Skegness, why does she need to tell the world that she is Julie from Skegness?
Yeah,
She
so
doesn't.
true.
Yeah.
And again, like it's so hard with nowadays because we do live in a cancel culture.
Yeah.
She's scared to say anything.
Yeah, of
She's scared
course.
to say right, wrong. And that's why I think with someone like a Ricky Gervais is clever, because he actually don't give a shit.
He's a genius.
He
Can't
stands
cancel
up,
him.
he don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there are hurtful things like, you know, I watched an episode of Only Fools and Horses recently, and best show ever made.
Yeah,
but there's some certain stuff on there. You go, wow, how did they get away with certain stuff? So I get that, but then to go over old stuff and start getting, you know, hacking,
They want apologies from people
Yeah,
now,
they
don't
do.
they? For old
you know,
things.
that was right. That was not right, but that's what time and era we lived in.
Yeah.
And if that, you know, now we live in the world we live in now, and you can't say that. That's fair enough.
It's because everyone's got a mouth now, haven't they? But back then
Everyone's
they
very
didn't.
Do you believe that's
sensitive.
right or right? Then, like, you know, like, for example, Ricky Gervais, we all love Ricky Gervais. He just says it how it is, and we believe you can make a joke about anything. If
Yeah.
you get offended by it, that's on you.
Exactly.
I'm not saying it to be malice and say it with hurtful intent, but it's going so far the other way now where it's like, where does the buck stop in terms of we can't make a joke
That's
anymore?
the thing. And I also, you know, I feel like every single person on this planet has a problem with something.
Yeah.
If you say left, I'll say right. You know, if I say black, you say white. It's the same. Everyone's got a different opinion.
Yeah.
And you are scared to, because the 1% seem to be able to rule
The rest,
world.
yeah, so true.
And, you know, I think we're all just in the place where we're just like, as long as it doesn't, you're going to offend someone.
Yeah.
So as long as you stand true to your conviction of what you're actually saying, like, as long as it's not said in malice,
Yeah, of course.
you know, take the piss all you want.
Yeah.
We've
Absolutely.
had it as well. We've had a few stick on social media for some content we put out, but we've not ever done anything malicious. We've not done anything hurtful to anyone. But like we said, the world's gone so sensitive and soft. It's like you can say anything and it will
That's the
offend
thing.
someone.
And listen, boys, listen. You're undoubtedly, you're four good-looking guys. You got your own voices on this, and it's important to do that because, you know, four good-looking guys. Everyone would think, oh, they're just out partying, but you're not. You're giving back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know this is also a career for you, but it's also you're going to talk about issues that are important to your listeners.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
100%.
So-
And that's why we
Yeah.
like
That's why it's
want to bring.
formed, yeah.
That's how it formed, and that's why we like to bring guests like yourself on, because it gives people an insight to a different perspective that they would have maybe never even considered.
Agreed.
So, touching on that, just slightly off topic, but on topic of you, what kind of your advice be to anyone that's trying to get into the acting industry? Because obviously the game's changed
The
a
game
lot.
has definitely changed, and that's the thing. I think fundamentally you need to work out whether you want to be an actor or you want to be a celebrity. They're two different things. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, wow, that's very true.
Being in EastEnders automatically made me a celebrity because it was, like we said earlier, 52 weeks a year, 4 times a week in people's living rooms. So you automatically become one. As soon as you walk through the Elstree gates and your first episode airs, that's it. You're
celeb,
goners. But I came into the career as just wanting to act. So it depends on what you want to come into it for, because you can come in and I've got friends that are jobbing actors, bloody good actors, but they're not household names, but they're earning a career in acting.
Yeah.
And they're happy. They don't want to be on EastEnders. They don't want to be in a soap opera, Carnage Street, wherever. They're happy treading the boards, you know, doing their little jobs.
Enjoy their craft.
Enjoy their craft. And I always say that, which is why I like doing theatre, because, you know, if you're an athlete, you're in the gym.
Yeah.
If you're an actor, you should be on the stage
Yeah.
on your craft. And that's important as well, you know. And that's the thing is there are two types. There's acting, then there's celebrity. And sometimes the two cross over. And sometimes they mar together quite nicely. Sometimes the celebrity takes over more than the acting. And sadly, in my case, that's happened. Whereas I would actually rather it be the other way around.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because, you know, nothing beats a bloody good drama on TV where, you know, people the next day are going, oh my God, did you see that? As opposed to, oh my God, did you see Dean throwing up on kangaroo testicles? Do you know what I mean?
You started quite young though, didn't you, in the theatres?
Yeah.
I think so.
But that's the thing as well, like, and this is not me being big-headed in any way, shape or form, because I'm buzzing, but when I was 15, I joined EastEnders. Like with all of us, when you get your photos out of 15 years old, I didn't look the best looking, do you know what I mean?
No,
Like,
yeah.
I feel like
We
I've
know.
grown
Fine
into
wine,
my-
mate, don't worry.
There you go.
Fine wine.
But that's the scrutiny that, with what we said about the papers earlier,
Yeah.
is that I hit EastEnders at 15, you know, I had spots on my face, and it was hard because you're going through that, and then you're dealing with the papers ridicule and taking the piss. And that's good that that's changed now, because they'll never be able to do that again. They'll be able to mock someone's appearance. And I think, you know, if that's changed in this new world of cancel culture, then I'm happy, because you shouldn't take the piss out of someone. Laugh with someone, not laugh at them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I was just about to say, do you think that's then for better, for worse, like in terms of the way
That side.
Okay, yeah, I can agree with
but
that.
now you say something that you said in 2010 when you're like, 18 years old, say, and then you're being cancelled in 2023 because of what you said in 2010.
Well, they're finding people's old tweets, aren't they? And like
Yeah,
asking
yeah.
people to apologise for it and stuff like that. I was a different person
Exactly.
last
And I don't
year,
think
let
now-
alone 10 years ago.
They're wrong now, and
Yeah.
yes, they probably were wrong then.
Yeah.
But we didn't know any different.
Yeah, no, we
'Cause
didn't.
You all follow suit.
Yeah, and you're
You know.
you're fixed to that society that you're living in that moment in time.
Exactly.
My social media comes up with like things that I posted like 4 or 5 years ago, like a memory, and I'm like, I did not write that. Delete that. Delete that.
Yeah, but
And
you change, develop
But,
differently.
but I
That's
know,
right,
of course
yeah.
you do. But like, for example, Facebook status was like one of the things,
Yeah.
and I used to write some ridiculous things. And I ended up doing reality TV last year, and then they obviously said they got in contact, they check your socials, and they're like, you need to delete this,
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And then he showed me a way you can like kind
you
of
can
type in
search
keywords, and I was like, wow, did I say that? Delete, and I was just there, delete, and I'm just thinking, wow, like if something happens with this, someone can backtrack and say use that against you.
Yeah,
so
of course.
it's quite intense.
And then you're cancelled.
yeah, exactly.
Never to work again.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, like, like again, it's hard because each case is individual. You know, if you've saying stuff about racism or whatever, let's not go down that route. But if you're saying something that's obviously wrong, fair enough. There's
a line.
But you're 18 years old. You're a child. So you
know
what you're saying.
You're outlandish.
Saying any old thing, you know.
That's crazy. It's so true.
What is it like for you in terms of relationships, though, Dean? Because again, like being in the position you are in, there's a lot of people that will kind of try to leech on people like you just for the sake of you having certain connections and networks. Like, let's be honest, you're out here, you probably have a good time. People see you out here. Do you kind of see through people when they're trying to use it for something? Or
good question. I think like I've been quite blessed to have long-term relationships in my life. I've seen the mother of my children, and then a few exes since, but. You know, my last relationship was about 4 years, and that was great. But, you know, you go left, they go right. It's life, isn't it? You move on as long as you're amicable.
Yeah.
In certain cases. But obviously being in somewhere like Ibiza, somewhere like O Beach, predominantly the audience there is younger because that's just
sure.
You know,
that's what it attracts.
It's that 18 to 30s thing. And I do find that age group now are about, like we're saying, not all of them, but
clout.
Majority is about the clout, the blue ticks, to this, to that. And you as a voyeur, when I sit back on the table and I watch that go on, it does kind of. But then I think back to when I was that age, was I doing that, but in a different kind of way? Yeah. So you don't know. I'm not knocking this generation at all.
Of course, yeah.
But what I'm saying is it is all very different.
Yeah.
You know, it is all about social media.
It is,
how many
heavily.
blue ticks you got, and how many this you got, and how many that got. Whereas, like you said, no one give a shit when I was growing up about, there was no social media.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember going out with a girl when I was about 17, and she lived in Chelmsford in Essex, and she had this computer, and I was like, what's this? She says, oh, it's the internet. I'm like, what? That's how mad this is now, what I'm saying to you. I was like, what's that? She goes, oh, she was on a chat room. I think it was like an AOL chat room. She was speaking to someone in Japan. She was chatting to some guy in Japan. And I was like, I don't understand. What do you mean you're chatting to some guy from Japan? And the picture comes up and he's like there and it's live webcam. I'm like, that has just blown my mind. That was the first introduction to the internet for me.
Wow, really.
I was like, wow, because I'm 45 now, so how many years ago that was. But I was like, what is this? And it was the dial-up thing when it makes that. You know, your mum and dad are kicking off. But it was like, what is it? And now it's like brushing our teeth. It's just normal.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just there.
It's a quick jump, isn't it?
You know, like us today when we couldn't get our service, we were cracking up. Started crying.
We was panicking. We was panicking
in the car.
Dean was in the back crying. Me and him a few.
We got out of the car having a row.
Dean was
getting the maps out.
When my battery goes,
I don't
care if I'm about to meet the king. He can wait. I need to charge my phone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Too. Just having it off with O2. No, it's horrible.
I think it's crazy that you can literally see. I don't understand. My brain can't compute, but you can someone can be on the other side of the planet and you can see their phone in real time talking to them and see their mouth. You can see the whole picture. And
it's weird, isn't it?
How is that happening? I don't understand what's going on here.
It's like the same as this. What we're doing here. I mean, technology just blows my mind.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Like even Shazam and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You get a song, you're
From a
like,
beat.
Crazy.
2 seconds later, it's there. It's like, what?
Who developed that?
How was you travelling before Waze and that? What was it? The Yellow Books? Or?
It was
the Yellow Page.
Maps back to the car.
I had to talk to a winner. There was a girl the other day I was talking to in Ibiza Ocean, in O Beach, and she was 6'5".
Wow.
No problem. I literally looked like Bernie Eccleston. I mean, it was stupid. Like, hello, darling. I mean, beautiful and model, amazing, but it just looks silly. Yeah, and it's great for Rod Stewart. He can get away with that. He's Rod Stewart, but it's not going to work for Dean Gaffney.
What's your ideal woman?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Oh, how long we got?
You know what? Listen, I'm still a gentleman. I'm still, pay your way. I pay. We go out for meals. Of course, I pick up the tab. It's not an issue. But every now and again, it'd be nice to go out with someone who says, I'm taking you to a spa this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm taking you on.
Cool. You do well to find one of them things.
In this generation.
That's not being chauvinist. It's not, that's me just being down the line that, it's nice when someone acts, and also just reach for the card.
Yeah.
I promise you're not going to use it on our meal out. Whatever.
We spoke about it.
Just bloody reach for it. Just, even if you fumble for it, it's not there. It's not there.
It's in the car.
It's in the car. Fumble for it.
I think that's the first thing we said in the first ever pod we did, didn't it?
That's what we spoke about.
The first ever pod we said, look, I don't want you to pay for it, but fucking offer, or at least try.
Or just fumble.
Yeah.
You know, oh, what's that? Oh, yeah. My pockets are too tight. Do you know what I mean? One of them ones. Do something. And also gratitude, isn't it? I don't want you to be bowing down just because I bought you,
What does an ideal first date look like for you, though? If you were to take a girl out, so you got a 10 out of 10 there. She's ready. She's like, Dean, I'm ready for you, sweet.
10 out of
Take me
10.
out.
We'll be in the Maldives. I'll tell you. I think I love going out. I love socialising. I love going out for food. I love going out for cocktails and drinks. And something like that's a nice way to start. But also, I obviously the celebs go dating. And I listened to Paul's podcast the other week. And he was clever in what he said. He said, people, when you're dating now, you should probably just go on coffee dates.
Yeah, that's what we said.
Just do a nice thing. You're not wasting any of your day.
Informal.
You're doing it informal. And the girl doesn't have to worry about, oh my God, got to put makeup on. It's going to take 3 hours. You just get your hoodie on, you get your casuals on and just come out to the coffee shop.
I'll tell you what, on that then, as you told us, you're a different generation to us, right? What's sort of like the main difference you've seen in the expectations of women at different ages between your generation and say in girls in their late 20s, 30s? Like, what's the expectation difference?
Now with the invention of things like OF and stuff like that, I think, however people want to earn their money, that's their God-given right, and good luck to them. Money makes the world go round. So I get it. But, you could be talking to somebody and 5 minutes later, you'll get a...
When you're taking out.
It's not even that. It's sometimes even darker than that. It's like... when are you going to spoil me or something like that?
That'll put me off.
I don't know what I mean. And they'll say things like, I'm, my time is precious. And
our time is precious.
More or less hinting that, what
are you going to do for me?
What are you going to do? And I'm just like, wow, I can't. Like, it takes my brain to register, like, what are you even on about?
Yeah.
What are we even talking about here? So that kind of gets quickly,
Do you find that more from the younger gen, though?
I find it from, Yeah. And that's not, I'm not stereotyping, I'm not saying that it's everyone. I'm just saying that people nowadays don't seem to have no problem in saying that.
Yeah, forward.
Very forwards,
This is what I'm saying out of my stall.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Weird.
If you're taking me on a date, this is my rules. And I'm just like, okay, well,
there's a massive expectation.
Good for someone else, it's not necessarily good for me. It's not good for me at all. Do you know what I mean? But,
cut that tie straight away.
But
100%.
like I said, each to their own, because there are men out there that do that. So
I bet you must have girls messaging going, are you going to fly me out to Ibiza and all that sort? I bet you get all that sort of shit.
I barely fly myself out. See how much flights are at the moment. Do you know what? The good thing about Ibiza, because obviously, which I know you're going to be speaking to my mate Tony, he's got a lovely villa and I fly out and I stay there and it's kind of nice. Do you know what I mean? It's a nice setup. There's me, Truman and Gordy staying there. We're like the three wise men. We go back there, we moan about the day, But that's the thing, we moan about it. But then come October, when this is all over, we're going, get us back.
Yeah, of course.
Ibiza's a magical place, isn't it?
It is.
Is this your favourite place to come to?
One of. I mean, I love Dubai.
Yeah.
Yes.
I spent 3 months. I was only meant to be there a week last year and I ended up spending 3 months. Wow. Didn't stay in one day or night. I mean, I blew some serious cash out there. My God. But Ibiza's lovely because it's 2 hours away. It's easy.
Yeah.
Everyone speaks English. It's just simple. And the maddest thing is, like, I actually, a lot of the time, fly out on my own because I know everyone out here.
Yeah,
and
sure.
That's the maddest thing about Ibiza. It is a family. And it sounds wanky to say that, excuse my French, but it is a family. As soon as I step off that plane, I'll go and see Andy at Plastic. I'll go and see Truman, obviously, at O Beach or Wayne or whatever. It is like a family.
Yeah. Home from home almost now.
Yeah, dysfunctional family, my God. we are a family,
That should do it. Yeah, perfect. Just in case. Cool.
Yeah, no, nice. And I think that loops back to what you said earlier at the beginning, Dean, in terms of people don't realise the different types of lifestyles there are in Ibiza. Yeah. People see it for what everybody sort of really thinks they know it as, which is club. Don't get me wrong, it is the clubbing scene. Of course it is. But then you've got places like this, so you could just literally come out here and disappear for 6 months.
But then there are people that go to the West End of Ibiza, the Strip, and they think that's Ibiza. Yeah. So whatever your journey is, like I said, there are people that go to Great Bar, the Highlander, sing "I Would Walk 500 Miles" and get really inebriated and think that's Ibiza. But that's good for them.
Yeah.
It's what you want. Like, you're in a beautiful villa here, boys, and this is a side that you've probably not seen before. Yeah. And it's a very spiritual thing that, rock behind us.
Sure.
And that's a nice side. And there are people in the West End Strip that would never see us.
No, wouldn't even know it's here.
Wouldn't even know it's here.
Yeah,
Would go, what's that? What's Bossa? I've never heard of Bossa. But then you've obviously got your super clubs. I mean, what amazes me is them super clubs, like 10,000 people paying 80 euros above. I mean, the money they make, 12, 15 euros on a water and madness. But I mean, going to somewhere like High, the old space, is like going to an airport.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is mental. Like, you go there and it's like, there's all these different, oh, do I go in that queue? Do I go in that queue? It's mad.
You get lost in there, don't you?
Oh, it's unbelievable. And that's
They
like
definitely oversell capacity as well, though. Like, I've been to, for example, Music On is a very popular event, and when it was at Amnesia, you couldn't move in there.
Exactly.
Like, they definitely oversell the capacity, which kind of ruins it sometimes.
Yeah, I hear you.
But when it's like, before that, like I used to come here in 2014 time, it was different vibes, I think, personally. It has changed a lot, but I don't know, everyone has mixed opinions about the super clubs.
But that's
now.
the thing as well, because I forget that people are actually here on holiday, whereas I spend a lot of time here. So people go, oh, where are you going tonight, Gaff? Are you going to Music On? And I'm like, no, I'm going to go and just do cheesy and just stay in the kids' plastic here to go, whatever. They're like, but no, it's Music On. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not on holiday. I've seen that, and to be honest, everyone that knows me, I call it the shoe shufflers. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
DC10 for me would be my worst nightmare.
Really?
This is not for me, and that's if you want to do that, that's what Ibiza is. But that's not my Ibiza.
Merck's favourite place to go. You'll be the last one person to come out.
But my Ibiza is different. My Ibiza is, because obviously my friends own businesses here. It's easy for me to be around them. But I can.
On that, Dean, I'll tell you what. Then, could you? I don't know if you'll be able to tell us it or not. Maddest story out here in all the years you've been here. What's the maddest story?
Wow.
one of your friends is laughing.
Wow.
That's when we get cancelled.
Listen, you can make it as PG
that's
or
a
as
story.
big as you
If
want.
it's that bad, we'll cut it.
Oh, no, I'm just trying to think. Wow.
Which one?
Oh, wow. That's a hard one.
No, you look
boys.
back, you think, that was a good night.
Wow, that's a hard one, boys. Oh,
Listen,
God.
if it's going to get you cancelled, you don't have to say
Yeah,
it.
no. I'm just trying to think of ones that are like a bit.
I mean, we had a
PG.
mad little night. We'd be back in 2020 in Wiki Woo at the back.
Was he there?
Yeah, with it.
Yeah.
Oh, so fucked up, Jimmy.
Yeah. I put him in a cab and sent him home.
Let's go home or anything.
No, this is
Those are the
that
best
place
stories,
like
mate.
you leave your inhibitions at the door there. Oh my God, what am I? What can I tell you? Fucking
It's
hell.
not going to get you cancelled.
You've got me now, boys.
No recollection,
You've
innit?
got me now. 'cause
Or
there's so
anything
many.
like maybe funny. Put them on the spot.
Just little things like, when I was probably off, it's 21, we all came out. It was about 20 of us lads, got a villa. And it was farcical. Like, I'd come back, I'd met a girl, came back. I was single at the time, came back. And, we've got like a bit like this set up, bit of a living room, and then you've got rooms off it. So I'll be going off to make, and then the boys all come back, and I'll be going off to make said girl, a drink. And then I'd come out and she'd gone. So one of the boys had nicked her into his room. So I'm like, just kind of like, well, so then I get her out of his room. She's not doing anything, but boys will be boys. They're trying to- So she's in his room. Anyway, then I go, babe, just relax. Like, she goes, yeah, but this guy just pulled me. I said, listen, you're safe with me. And then I'd go and make her another drink, come out, and one of my other mates is trying to take her. And it's just like, boys, man, like you take her. But I don't even know if that's a funny story, because it's not. Because
No, but I can
she
imagine
wasn't, she wasn't being pushed from pillar to post. But men, men, like they're at 4 o'clock in the morning when they haven't met a woman, they'll say anything.
Yeah.
I think one of my mates was promising her the world.
Oh no!
There's always one of them.
Wait, hold on.
I was like whispering in the ear. Like,
I'm not babe. I'm going to take you to the
It's just
Maldives.
annoying because there's so many that I can't
Clara.
think of.
all right, I'll tell you, right, I'll ask you a different way. Maybe one night you think,
No.
I want to go back to. If you could go back and
But it was,
relive one night.
but it was nights like in the Wiki Woo, in the Wiggly, then they've obviously got a room out the back,
Yeah.
2 suites. And there's times when I wake up there at 6 in the morning on the bed, face planted in the bed, in my clothes, going, how did I get here? Like, how did I actually get into this room? I don't know, because it's all fingerprints. So my fingerprint wouldn't work. It's not my room.
That's
How did I
hilarious.
get in? Like silly little things like that. You just go, like, I'd love to be able to relive the story, but I don't know how I got there.
Oh, wow.
I'm just trying to think of other stuff, man.
That gaff is unbelievable,
It
though.
is,
Wicked.
it's-
We
Yeah,
literally,
yeah.
we literally went to pick up Dane, and it was like, oh my
we
goodness.
went for a walk around the pool,
walk
didn't we?
through. I don't want to go back. I just want to stay.
We didn't
here,
want to
mate.
be us being in
He
the
takes
team.
me. He was like, "We've got to come here right now."
But I actually feel sorry for the women because there's no men there.
Right.
Don't say that pod, you're spoiling.
It's great for the boys, but what do the women do? There's no boys.
Well, this is the thing. Me and Merck
That's
came
what-
last September, and a few of my friends messaged me going, "Why are you staying here? Like, there's so many birds." I'm like, "Hello." Like,
Video of the pool.
why I'm there.
This is why.
what do you mean? Like,
We're going there tomorrow for breakfast, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I think we're doing another pod.
With Tony, yeah.
Yeah, with Tony.
This is, but again, I just listened to what you said there, and I know you didn't mean it. It's just Cockney talk. But again, we live in a world where people go, "They're not birds."
Yeah. No, we get that. We get that.
So you know, they are women. You know, ladies, women.
Ladies, women.
We're not saying it to degrade them.
No.
We're just
That's
referring.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not slang.
It's not
isn't
slang.
it?
It's
Yeah,
what
it
someone
sounds
always.
slang.
Someone said to me the other, "Oh, I went, all right, babe." She went, "Don't call me babe." I was like, but that's my
Oh, come
grammar.
on.
That's how I talk. I'm from London. I'm from
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
Cockney rhyming. That's what.
You know, when he starts-
Why,
Don't get any
why is that
standards,
offensive?
mate.
That's almost a term of endearment.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
is that offending you?
People just get offended by everything
Anything,
nowadays.
Do you know what I mean?
When I used to work in Tesco when I was 16, there was this gentleman who used to come in all the time, and I used to serve him. And I go, "You're right, mate." He goes, "Don't call me mate." My name's Tom. I'm
That's
like,
awful.
"Oh, you're a loser, mate." I'm like, "Oh, fuck."
Still calling mate.
Chill out, mate.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate.
Sorry, mate. Yes,
People are just so soft. At
people
Way
are
too
strange,
soft.
man.
That's
There's
crazy.
some strange cats out there, bro.
Was it that strange back in the days? Everyone got soft.
Yeah, no, I think the strange meter has probably gone up a bit.
Yeah.
But then you think back to then, and everyone was still strange then. I actually think none of us are normal.
Yeah.
No,
do
Like,
I
what is
agree.
normal anyway?
Yeah.
But I think we've all got our own little quirks. Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
of course.
Not everyone was what said is to be normal.
I just think the internet has exposed how weird people are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Everyone's fucking weird anyway. I mean, go places, they're fucking weird.
Yeah.
The internet now is just like, wow, I was absolutely correct. The
Yeah,
world
yeah.
is full of weirdos.
I wonder if like certain videos I see online, I'm like, were they doing that before you could showcase it to the
Yeah,
world?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
these people are fucking.
Yeah, they were.
But it just
They were,
comes
yeah, of
back
course
to
they were.
clout, though, doesn't it? Because everyone's after that fame, buying blue ticks. It's like, what can I do to stand out to get some views? And that's why they cross the line sometimes. And it's just like,
Well,
well,
Drake says a good line in one of his songs. He talks about, he basically says that I met this famous person, but I didn't know what he was famous for. It was like,
Right.
you're talentless, basically. And going back to what you said earlier, the big difference between being an actor, which is an actual career and a profession, to just being a celeb. And it's like these people are like, "Oh, you're right, yeah, he's got, like I said, that person TikTok famous." Like, but what are you famous? You've got no
actually so
talent.
true.
Like, what's your actual talent?
Yeah.
Like, you would have trained acting school to be an actor. Like, you have to become a method actor. You have to get into that role. You have to diversify and actually study your craft. Not saying these people don't study their craft, they're good at their job, but like, it's not. Is it worth being actually famous for in terms of an
This is the
actual?
thing, like someone like Ed
talent.
Sheeran, who's been at
You're
O Beach,
talent.
that's talent.
Yeah.
You know, acting. If you're like, you know, you're Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio. By the way, Leonardo DiCaprio was in Formentera. If you
He
will.
absolutely
I mean,
loves
the
it.
G,
doesn't
isn't he?
He's the
Absolutely.
He's the
ultimate G.
But someone like that, you go, I get it. I mean, there's
Yeah.
not one of us around this table has not seen Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you get that.
And he didn't win an Oscar. Oh no, that's the film he won an Oscar for.
No,
wasn't
he
it?
won it for Reverend, I think.
The Revenant. That's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Great
How
film.
can you not win an
movie.
Oscar for that film? That's one of the best films of all time.
Ever.
Was the Revenant when he got eaten by that bear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you watched that film?
Yes.
No, it's based on a true story.
It's very like long-winded.
Yeah, he's
but
not winning.
it's-
Just to
one-
go, he gets eaten by a bear at the end.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
that won so many awards for cinematography.
Yeah.
like it was.
It's
it
good
was-
acting.
It was phenomenal what it was, but like there was
Very
hardly any
long.
talking in it.
It's
It was
just
on
it's
purpose.
very
but
long.
The movie was done for.
That's
the
so
cinema.
funny
It
we
was
brought
on
that
set.
film up because so Truman, Tony, who owns obviously Ricky and No Beach, or one of the owners of O Beach, we came out a few years ago and he drove over. So we got on the ferry and the Reverend was on, or whatever it's called, and we watched it and he sat there and he's fidgeting anyway because he's always on his phone because he's always stressed about O Beach and whatever. And he just looked at me and he went, "What the fuck is this, man?" I'm on this ferry going over from Southampton to wherever we're going, Portsmouth to wherever. You know, crappy little ferry. It's not like the big cruises, you know. You can hear a bingo caller in the background. You can hear this going off over there. And he's like, "What are we doing here, mate?" It was just me and him in a cinema. Like, look like a right.
How was your relationship with him? How did you two become friends?
I've known him years, Tony. Funny story there. Like we met. I was at a boxing tournament with some of the guys from EastEnders, and this guy sat next to me. And Tony Truman, but he wasn't a Tony Truman I knew. He's just a guy he had long hair then, funny enough, and he owned a sunbed shop in Surrey. So we got talking. He went, "Oh," he goes, "Listen, this is crap. Should we go off to Kingston, our local town?" So we left everyone there, and it was just me and him. And I'm a bit worried. I thought, you know, is he putting it on me?
Yeah.
Is he trying it on? You know, I'm not really sure about him. I don't know him from Adam. So we've gone to Kingston. Everyone seemed to know him. All right, Tone. I thought, God, who is this guy? Anyway, then about midnight, he goes, "Oh, do you want to come back to mine?" I thought, here we go. Like, what's this about here? I went, yeah. He goes, oh, I've got a few people back at mine. You know, just cracking on. You're more than welcome to come back. So I'm like, what do you mean there's a few people back at yours? You've been with me all night. He goes, yeah, but he goes, one thing you learn about me, he goes, I'm just hospitable. I just open my door to anyone.
Nice.
But I thought it was a figure of speech.
Yeah.
Anyway, we pulled up. Bearing in mind, he's been out with me all night. And this is his home. And it's a big house he had at this point. And walking up the drive and I can hear all this music blaring. I thought, what's going on here? He kicks open the door, right? And there must have been 200 people cracking on his house. But he's been with me all night. So I'm looking around, everyone's going, all right, Tony, there's 2 people banging each other over here, people in the toilet. And I'm like, what is going on? My
I'm in the right
mind,
place.
my mind was blown because I'm like, but you've been at a boxing tournament, you've been with me. How have these people got into your house? He goes, I'll just leave a key around the back.
Oh, wow.
And that is Tony Truman.
What a
That is,
legend.
he's just, you know, and then
loves
since then, we've had, I mean, I had a nightclub with him on the Egg Roundabout here in Ibiza. We lost a lot of money. I lost about 50 grand in it. And then, actually, this is a story. I kick myself every day, but I'm proud of where he's got to. So we had this club called Boho, short for Bohemian. 10 of us, we all thought, well, yeah, we're club owners. We own a club. And it's underneath a hotel called Pisces Park. And it's the red and black hotel on the Egg Roundabout.
know,
And we
yeah.
own this club underneath. We thought we were large, and we had this, but we only had one busy day a week. But when it was busy, it was rocking. We were hemorrhaging money every day, drinking away our profits. It only opened for 3 months, and then we lost money, and it had to be taken off us. And then the next year, Truman goes, "Oh, I'm flying you over, mate." And this was in like February time, because I'm flying.
What
you
year
over.
was this?
This was 2000. It's got to be about 2009, 2010.
fine.
Takes me over to a car park, which is now O Beach.
Wow. Okay.
And this car park was derelict. It had weeds growing up to my nipples. It was just stinging nettles everywhere. It was a hotel. And he had a little hut where a guy was serving cups of tea out from. Just some random Spanish guy. And he owned the land. And True was like, I can get this land for dirt cheap and I want to make it into a beach club. And I look round, bearing in mind I lost 50 grand the year before with this club. So I was like, Tone, I don't have the money. I was on EastEnders, I had the money, but I thought, why would I keep giving money away to an island that's not giving me anything back financially? So I was like, you know what, I'm not investing in Ibiza anymore. I'm done, Tone, allow it. And I said, mate, look at it. It's a dusty car park with weeds growing up here. It's not going to work. Anyway, he quickly, and every other business adventure he's got, he always will ask me 1,000 times.
Do you want to come in?
This time he asked once, and I said no, and the rest is history. O Beach opened a year later.
Oh, for God's
And
sake.
it's one of the biggest beach clubs in the world. I mean, don't get me wrong, the first 3 years was quiet.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, I made the right decision. And now look, I mean, 7 days a week, that gaff.
Yeah, literally.
And my daughters will say, Dad, why did you say no? But it wasn't my journey.
Yeah,
Without
yeah,
being,
yeah. Well, that's very true.
starting to turn it spiritual and right near Esfedra. But it's not my journey. It's not my journey to be on that road with him. And since then, he's offered me a few other businesses, which I've declined because I thought, well, it's not going to be as good as O Beach. And they're getting better than O Beach. Like, what am I doing? But I know it's law of averages. I say yes to the one,
of course.
but the wrong one. But that's Tony, and I hope you guys do meet him and do the podcast with him because he's very insightful about this island and he'll have you laughing in stitches because he don't care about cancel culture.
Yeah. Good
man,
He'll
yeah,
say
good
anything.
man.
Do you
I'm
know what I
looking
mean?
forward to it. That's really interesting what you said there because I know some people that would pass on an opportunity like that or miss an opportunity like that and forever be in a rut about it.
Yeah.
And you've
Dwelling on it,
you've come out with such a positive outlook on it and a mindset on it, like, well, my journey is what it
Exactly.
is, and I'm happy for him. Is that a mindset you've always had going through?
Yeah, I think it's important. Don't get me wrong. We all have that green-eyed monster in us.
Yeah.
You know, we all are capable of that. We're all human. So, you know, there are times when he's off, you know, in private jets here, then everywhere that I go, oh, that could have been me. But I'm actually, the bigger side of me is so happy for him.
Yeah.
You know, so happy that this was a guy, when I met him, he had a sunbed shop that was hemorrhaging money, wasn't really making any money. And now look at him. And a lot of Truman's businesses at that time was failing. He tried everything. He put parties on, the legendary Trues Do's, and they did well. But there was a lot of ventures that didn't do well.
Sure.
And now you know, there's 5 owners of Ocean. A lot of people think it's the said one person that everyone thinks it is, but there are 5 owners of that place, and they all bring individually something to that place, which is why it's that in itself is a dysfunctional fab. You know, they're all mad in their own little way, but they all make it work.
Yeah.
And it's the right mix. And I don't know if I would have added to that or hindered it, because I would have been so excited that I own a beach club, I would have effed it up. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Tony's, I mean, there's something like 500 staff now they've got as a group, you know, that and they have to, you know, keep them in line. And the thing is about working at someone like O Beach, people think that's a piece of piss, but no, they work hard. I mean, those shot girls, shot girls they're the hardest working, because they have to shot. You know what men are like? They're like, I'll have one if you have one. Yeah. So they go, okay. So before you know it, they've had 80 shots in a day. Oh, wow. I mean, serious, where they can't even stand up, but they're earning good money, and they're earning good money for the business and themselves. But it's about that they work hard there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a question to ask, to be honest, because I've seen like the application process. They get thousands of people trying to apply. So it's a case of sussing them out.
Exactly. And also because of Brexit, they can't hire any English staff. It's all Irish. So it's all Irish, which is great. You know, we all love the Irish. And, you know, they love a drink, don't they? But you know, it'd be nice to bring some English back into the film.
It's a shame that happened, really.
Gaffers, on that, you said an interesting point there. I didn't actually know this side about you. Are you 2 parts, I suppose, to this question? One is, do you feel it, from what you've said so far, are you quite spiritual in that sense, in terms of you believe in like your own path in life?
Yeah, I think if anyone heard me that question to me, they'd be like, piss off, Gaff, spiritual, what are you on about? But no, to a certain extent, I do believe that our life is mapped out for us. You know, when I lost my job on EastEnders and I lost my girlfriend in the same 6-month period, I was a broken man. Not broken as in I can't function, can't get out of bed, but I'd felt pain I'd never felt before.
Yeah, sure.
And, you know, heartache is a horrible thing because there's no cure. There's just no cure. You feel sick, you can't sleep. And it's the same with losing my job. You know, I had a job, not necessarily for life, but I was in a good place on EastEnders. And I'd, you know, it was a place that was home, and it was a family. Yeah. And for my own stupidity, really, of speaking to a girl online, I then lose my job. And it's like, wow, like I wish that I could rewind time, but you can't. So you have to go, well, that was for a reason. It's about learning what that journey is. And hopefully at some point in the future, whether it's on that show or another show, you pay your price for that, and you learn your lesson and you move forward. Yeah. So in answer to that question, maybe. I mean, don't get me wrong, in 3 hours' time when I'm on Ocean Beach drinking and pissed off,
I'll ask you again.
And you'll get a very different answer. But, you know, I do think in life we have to hold our hands up and go, you know, this word gets brandished a lot about narcissism. And when you actually home in on what narcissism is, it can be triggered in all of us. We all have a slight part of that. But it's about going, you know what, I hold my hands up and I was wrong then. And that, I think, is important of going through, because we're not always right, boys. No, absolutely not. Sure. We're not always right. Sure. Male, female, you know, whatever. We are not always right. So sometimes it's about actually holding your hands up and going, you know what, I was a bit of an idiot then. Yeah. And, you know, when I've had a few shots at O Beach, I probably turn into an idiot. But there's 2 types of, you know, alcohol hits in mysterious ways. And there's 2 types of drunk. There's drunk where you're giddy, and then there's drunk where, what are you looking at? Yeah. And I hope that I'm, you know, on the giddy side. But every now and again you have a drink and your brain it mashes your brain.
There's a weird fault somewhere back there.
It's mad what alcohol does. And that's why I can be very empathetic when I see people out, apart from shouting Robbie, you wanker, or something like that. But aside from that, I try and find empathy with everyone, because when they're on alcohol, it's not them. It's not them. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. It just, and some would say, well, then don't drink then. Yeah. That's easier said than done, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, you can say that about anything. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. So maybe I'm spiritual.
On the second part of that question then, what do you feel as though your journey is now? Like, what are you trying to head towards? Like, it's
a good question.
Do you know what I mean? Where do you want to be? What you got going on?
That's a good question. I think 90% there is people going, oh, Gaffney's a nice guy. But then there's that 10% when, you know, if you've had a drink, he can do this, he can do that. I want to be 100% nice. I know that's not possible. You know, we're not all nice all the time. But I just would like the legacy to be, he's actually a nice guy. He's a good lad. And, you know, I try not to harm anyone, you as long as my daughters are happy, my granddaughters are happy, and my mother and father, that's important as well.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm very blessed to have both my parents on the planet, and as long as they can look me in the eye, and, don't get me wrong, we all test our parents' patience, of course, for God's sake. And they wouldn't be our parents if we didn't. But as long as they can, in their later life, go, actually, you know what, we've raised a good son. Then
It's probably,
100%. That's a good answer.
It's the ultimate thing.
That's the goal, isn't it?
They do say that your legacy is not how much you've actually made, but like the impact that you leave on people when you leave. Because that's what people talk about, right? Of
course.
God forbid.
You make a good enough impact on people, you'll be spoken about forever.
100%.
Like, that's it.
But that's what I'm saying. Everyone's so caught up with just the lifestyle of making money, and that's like their only agenda, and they'll like kind of scarve them race and snake their friends. And I think
someone made me
they'll
laugh.
end up very lonely then. People.
Yeah, exactly. Someone made me laugh the other day. They went, if you ever leave this earth, Gaff, in some freak accident, God willing that doesn't happen, but if you ever did, they said there'd be a statue of you in Ocean Beach, just in the middle of the thing, just pointing, and that made me laugh, because there probably will be. Like, obviously Wayne, I love, and Truman, obviously the other partners. It's a great, and it's hard because obviously with podcasts, it's a bit like smell-o-vision. They can't see what we're talking about unless they've been there. But everyone's got a good story to tell about it.
Yeah, we have a not a saying or but we've something we try and live by, and we always try and say like we've all made mistakes in our life, we've all done things we shouldn't have done, and etc. etc. But we've tried to make amends, and for what part, we're good people. Do you know what I mean? And one thing we always try and say is be a good human.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? Just be a good human.
It's so true. And don't get me wrong, and even you've said that, we all try to do that, but there's sometimes things will happen where you go, oh, maybe I'm going to go off, course here. But you're absolutely right. As long as you're a good human and you go, actually, I'm trying.
Yeah.
We all mess up, man.
The most important thing, though, like taking accountability, knowing that you've done something. That's the biggest.
That's
thing,
the biggest
thing. If you can't see that, then I would say you're a nice.
There is no one, and like we're saying about people, no one's normal. There is no one on the planet that hasn't fucked up.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's how you fuck up, like you said, how you own it.
From that,
100%.
If you look back at yourself when you was younger and think, no, it's all right. Like I'm still the same dickhead I was then. You're a dickhead. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
But it's like I got done for drink driving recently, and back home, and albeit 4 milligrams over, I was still over, regardless whether it's a cap of Listerine. I'm still over. Yeah. And that was hard because you're thrown into a police cell. I've never been in one in my life, and that was hard. Like you hearing, you sit there. I don't know if any of you have been in the police. That was horrible, man. You sat there. Yeah. There's no toilet seat. It's just this basic blue mattress. There's a blue mattress. You've obviously done it then. Blue mattress.
I said too much.
Cover, and all you hear is this noise, and there's this one guy shouting, "Get me out of here!" Like he's having a breakdown. Then there was this guy screaming. There was people coming in drunk and disorderly, and I just sat there and I went, I'm glad I'm going through this because I never want to be here. Like I never want to do this again. Drink driving, I hold my hands up. I messed up. We all. I wasn't 50 milligrams over when I'm inebriated. I don't. That's taking the piss. I was 4 over.
I'll be all right.
Still wrong. Still wrong. But I never want to be in that position again. No. So you're right. It is about owning up and going. You know what? I fucked up. I messed up.
Yeah. Well, you've been out here for what, 3 weeks now? Any plans to go home, or is it like I'm not?
Do you know what?
I'm leaving.
I am Leo at the moment. And do you know what the maddest thing is? This is the thing about Ibiza. Like the other day, I was like, well, no, I'm going to go on Wednesday. And then Omar's rang me. He's gone, remember you got that podcast? Oh, shit. So there's so many different things that come up in Ibiza. So many different people. Like I'll get a text from someone saying, oh, remember I'm coming out on the 12th of July? And oh, damn, I was going to go home that day. So if you literally stayed in your, there's like last night, I said, no, I'm going to stay in tonight. Got a message about midnight from one of the guys at Ithaca, or wherever I was saying, oh, we've just landed, we're just rolling through. What time are you getting here? Oh, for God's sake, I want to stay in. Exactly. But that's the thing about Ibiza, you can't stay in.
Did you get up?
Yeah. And I regret it. I got in at 4 in the morning. You know when you're drunk, you're not drunk, you've had a few drinks, and you're doing a wee in the toilet, and you're staggering. You're bouncing off I was bouncing off the walls, going, why did I say yes?
That's gave me itchy feet. I want to go out now.
We're going to Ocean. That's it.
Oh, should we leave it there then, lads?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was good. I didn't want to leave it.
No, do you know what, Buzz? It is like a therapy session now. Yeah. Like it's nice to get things off. And listen, I'm not saying I'm a saint. I'm not saying that I'm the Messiah and what I say goes. But that's my truth. That's my journey. Do you know what I mean? But actually sitting here and saying all that is actually really
Pleasure having you on, man.
Love that.
Pleasure
Thank you,
having you
man.
on.
Love
Pleasure.
that.
Thank you very much, man. I really do appreciate it. You're the first international guest, and it was great.
Yeah,
it was a great chat. I loved every second of it. So listen, guys, if you've made it this far in the pod, we appreciate you. For you, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be in Ibiza because we wouldn't have the following to push us to go and do this. So we appreciate every single one of you. If you've enjoyed the pod, give it a big like, give it a comment in the comment section below. And if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button, and we shall see you in the next.
Peace.
Peace.